Unless you live under a rock, you'll have heard of 3D printers before. This specific 3D printer is a Bambu Labs A1. What you might not notice though is that the price of these things have dropped substantially. They're a lot more affordable than you might think, and they're a lot easier to use than you might realize. In this video, I'm going to show you all the different things that I've built, that I've designed, that I've printed using my 3D printer to fix some little issues, some niggles that I had with the motorhome, and generally just improve the overall usability of the motorhome. This will apply for camper vans, big and small, all the way to big motorhomes, to cars, to your house. They're a lot more useful than you might realize. This 3D printer is the Bambu Labs A1, and I thought I'd quickly explain a little bit about 3D printers before I take you into the van and show you the different things that I've made. Now, this one I ended up paying about 260 quid for it, and it was in the Black Friday sale. I think full price and current pricing, it's about 400, 450 pound. You can get them a lot cheaper than that when the sales are on. This is Bambu Labs. There's tons of different manufacturers. I can't say what the quality of the other ones are like. All I can say is this one. Put this on fine detail, and I'll show you some things that I've printed in the van, some sort of crucifixion things and some other bits and bobs, and the detail on it is absolutely incredible. The speed of it's fine. I'm currently printing a book stand that'll take about 10 hours, so time, it does take a little while depending on what you're printing. This one is noisy. It's not the printer, it's this little Nashi IKEA roller drawer things, which are made out of metal and they vibrate quite substantially. Fun fact though is that these printers compensate for any vibration on the surface and somehow manage to still print perfectly well even when the surface it's on isn't still at all. They're incredible. The difference between this one and the Mini is just the size of what you can print, and in all fairness, most of the 3D printers, the difference is maybe the speed, but it's mainly the size of the thing you can print. This one I can print roughly about 250 by 250 mil in sort of width and depth, and then height around about the same. So you're kind of limited based on that. You can always split it and print it in different plates and then put it together if that's what you want to do, but I'll leave that to more detailed videos about 3D printers. This is just to explain the possibilities of how you can fix little niggles and little issues that you might have. Just printed this. It's a little tea light candle holder. Probably put that in the van as well. So let's jump in the van and let's have a look at the different things that I've made and what sort of problems I'm trying to solve with this 3D printer. One of the first questions that crossed my mind, and probably yours, is how good is the quality from a 3D printer? And it varies depending on what you're printing. If you're printing something a little bit more generic, like just a basket or a storage box, you're not really too fussed about that. If you're printing something a little bit more detailed like that, which yes, I 3D printed, you want it to be fine. And the main difference realistically is the time that it takes. Something like that at the detail, which I'll show you in just a second, takes a long time. There's another thing here which I printed as well, which I will explain. Let's have a look at this first and I'll show you the detail. Now this, I have used a primer and I spray painted it, and then I used a gold paint and then some black paint to make it look old. It is plastic though, and it is just printed with PLA. Might be surprising to some that you can print that level of detail. I've also printed this. Now this I used 2 different colors. That's a little bit easier if you get the EMS, which lets you have 4 different colors or up to 4 different colors loaded at a time. That is a map of the Isle of Arran. It's like a topographic map, which I downloaded the topographic file and I made it into something with a logo on and put it in like a little bit of a frame thing. That one took, I think, about 14 hours, so it did take a while, but there is much faster things that you can print. So let's start at the front of the van and we'll work our way back, and I'll show you all the different things that I've 3D printed and all the different problems that I've tried to solve. Yes, you can buy these sunglass visor holder things for cheap, but if you've got a 3D printer, what you'll find is there's so many things that you could buy cheap, or you can just make yourself. So that was 3D printed the other day. Took maybe about half an hour, and there you go. I've got somewhere to clip my sunglasses while I'm driving. So in this section of the van, I've actually got a fair few different things 3D printed. All of them are fairly small, but they all add up and make quite a big difference. First off, it's the key holder. So this key holder is specific for a Fiat Ducato, which this van is, and I've put the logo on it, double-sided taped it, and now the keys fit in there perfectly. It's next to the door. I'm not going to forget the keys. That is a utility. That a little thing like that, yes, you can get a key holder. Will it fit that? Yes, you can put a little hook on, but it's different, it's custom, it's got the logo on, everything's great. Another crucifix, it's the same one as up there, just smaller, painted the same way, primer, gold spray paint over the top, then a black paint on top of that and wiped back off to sort of give it the worn and older effect, which I think works really well. Kitchen roll holder, again, yes, I can order one off Amazon for £8, a tenner, something like that. But instead, just 3D print my own. Set it off overnight, come up the next morning, and it's ready to go. There we have it. It's on there. Again, double-sided taped underneath this cabinet. In the cabinet, I've actually got an olive oil holder, because I don't want the olive oil to fall over, just in case the lid's not fully on or anything like that and it would leak. So I've got an olive oil holder, again mounted and stuck with double-sided tape on the inside of the cupboard. Moving to this part of the kitchen, I've got a chopping board holder. This was a little bit more finicky to make because I had to measure different parts of the chopping board, prototype it a couple of times to get it right so that the chopping board doesn't move, because it's wood and it's going to be against the cabinet. If it moves and it's solid, and it's not solid, it's going to knock and it'll do me head in. But because of that, I also need to be able to get the chopping board in and out, and I want enough tension but not too much where it'll not move, because then it'll be stuck either on or I'll not be able to get the chopping board back on. So that took a few attempts to get right, but now it's right. It works perfect. It means the chopping board's there. Before that, it was in the drawer. I had to take it out to get some stuff out of the drawer. And again, minor inconvenience, but that's where the 3D printers really excel. They make a huge difference to just them little problems where you can't buy something specific off the shelf. Now, on the drawer itself, I've got this. This is our Sloan's Media towel holder with the little kitchen drawer over hook. So that just fits on. I've got some extra clear tape on there just to make sure it doesn't make any noise, because I'm obsessed with trying to soundproof stuff. Just tucks in there, and that's that. I've also got a version of that in the bathroom, which I'll show you shortly, where it just sticks on the wall. Works the same way, but it's wall mounted instead. So this is this section of the van. I'll show you what's in the bathroom first, and then we'll move to the back of the van. And as you can see already, there's quite a few different solutions that I'm coming up with, and they all work really well. So let's have a look in the van and we'll go from there. Now the bathroom, other than the towel holders, which are just better than these ones, I mean, they come as standard. They're absolutely shocking. Nothing stays on them. I made 3 of these, stuck them on there. Jobs are good. And I've also got in here a little bit of a storage solution. So this is called Gridfinity, and that's one of the most beautiful parts of 3D printing, is the community is outstanding. And essentially, on the bottom of everything, there is a grid. And that's a shaving holder, soap holder, toothpaste section, toothbrush holder. I made that custom. It needs a clean. Forgive us for that. Danny will kill us for showing you that when it hasn't had a clean. And it's just another little thing just to stop things from falling about. I also made a squeegee holder with, again, the logo on it. Just fits in, keeps that there. Again, it's just little things, little problems that are not really huge problems, but if you can fix them, why would you not? Just behind the bathroom door, we have this big slab of nothingness. There's not really anything being used here, so I decided to design and print these 2 initially. I can't do it all in one fell swoop width-wise, because the maximum width I can print is this, well, a little bit longer than this. So instead I decided to make 2 smaller ones. Again, sometimes having something big that fits the entire thing kind of leaves you with another problem, because then it needs to be full, otherwise things are going to move about. So I thought doing it this way it might work. It might not, I'm not sure. I will probably smarten these smaller ones up and give them rounded edges to match this and thicken them up a little bit, but it's just a prototype, so having something a little bit thinner and easier, prints quicker. I can see what it's like on this trip that I'm going on next week. If it works, I'll make probably 2 that match perfectly, same depth, same edges and all the rest of it. Nice and simple, a nice overnight print. Stick them on, use them. If they work, great, I'll make them better, and if they don't, I'll just take them off. Simple as that. We all have a crap drawer. This one is my van crap drawer. Now the one in the house where you've just got loads of random stuff, batteries, cables, bags, head torches, remotes, screwdrivers, bits of crap. I've got one of them in the kitchen, but the one in the kitchen doesn't get driven around and get shook all the time while I'm driving. So the one in the house is still a mess. The one in the van, because it makes noise, is being fixed. So yeah, all Danny needs to do is make sure that it makes some noise, and I would get around to it pretty quick because it does me head in. So this one, what I've done is, again, as I've printed off this Gridfinity system, it's quite a universal system that someone's designed. It's almost like Lego. So there's a grid, a base with squares, and then you'll 3D print different things that have, for example, that is a 2x1 Gridfinity, and it's a cable organizer, and it works perfectly. So you just sort of secure the grid section down, which kind of is on the base, and then all of these just sit on top of it. Again, I've made stuff for my mouse with a little foam insert, and again, that one's a 2x3, and I just made a little cutout. The mouse fits in there perfectly. That's that. I've got an Xbox controller holder, not that I've even got the Xbox in here at the minute. Screwdriver holders. I've even got the one for me torch, where the charger still comes out the bottom, so I can still charge the torch up if I want to. It works perfectly. Again, in this system, there's so many different things that people have already made that you don't even need to design anything. Just search what it is you're looking for with Gridfinity after, and the amount of different solutions that people's made is incredible. It's the exact same system as what's in the bathroom. I've got everything from even little USB holders. Works great. So that's what's organized this drawer, and I'm very happy with this one. It works very well. This back corner of the van was a little bit of an oddity. I had some space to use and I wasn't sure what to use it for. This may change, but for the time being, I've 3D printed a book stand, which is essentially this. You can bend a little bit so I can wedge books in to keep them all tight. This again is just, well, it's actually velcroed down at the back, so I can take it off if I want. And up to now, I've done maybe 50 miles with the books in, and none of them have fell out, which I'm very surprised at. But I do think that might have to come out at some point. I'm not sure. This coffee machine, you might think, well, you didn't 3D print that. I didn't, but I actually 3D printed the pod holder on the side. So I come up with a custom design where I can stick it on the side so I can keep my pods in here. So everything that I need is here, and I'm not having to go to the front of the van to come to the back of the van. I just have my cup, put it on, press the button, make a coffee. Job is a good one. Then we've got more storage. So down here, you'll see this. Now, this was originally square, and this is still being printed draft, which is why it's got the little dodgy edge. Now, obviously, like I said, there's different quality levels. This one was set on the fastest possible print, which means the layers are the thickest they possibly can be, and the printer's printing as fast as it can be, so the edges aren't super precise on that. Again, this plus the storage I showed you before, are kind of like a prototype for the time being. If they work, then I'll print them properly. I just couldn't really be bothered to spend ages printing something with thicker and using more PLA plastic when I don't know if I'm going to like it. Initially, I'd done this with square edges, and I knew I didn't instantly like the square edges because you feel like as I'm coming in, I have to avoid it. So doing a curved side, you don't feel like you're going to hit your leg on it. 3D printer comes in handy for a ton of different things, from little stuff like this. So I 3D printed this before Christmas, again on the fastest, lowest quality. I didn't have any support on, so it's a little bit rough around the edges, but it looks fine. That was just something spare. Tons of little ornaments and models like this, absolutely thousands of them, so you'll be able to fill your boots with that kind of thing. You can also make stuff like this. So these storage boxes, you buy them off Amazon normally, they cost a fortune. These ones are stackable. Again, 3D printed. It's absolutely solid. Like, it is the same quality that you'd be buying somewhere else. And I also 3D printed this basket. Again, it's stackable. And then I've 3D printed these like shims that go on the bottom to angle it further forward while it's in the cupboard, so that my socks and my boxes and stuff are in here, but I can get access to them. I'm going to make a different version though, with the front sort of lower, so I can get access to the front, because it's still, although it's up, I've got to like try and dig my hand in, and it's not ideal. So close, but I am going to change the design for this. But it's to show you that all of these little things that you would normally buy, you can just make them yourself. One of the key parts of a 3D printer for me is the fact that I can't buy things that fit perfectly off the shelf. For example, this, which fits over the bed, this here is measured exactly to fit the frame on the bed. The one that I bought off Amazon kind of fit, kind of didn't. I had to try and adapt it to make it fit perfectly. And it was about a tenner, maybe it's 15 quid. This one, yes, it's just a box, but I could design it a little bit more if I wanted to. This cost us maybe 20 pence to 50 pence to make, and it fits exactly what I need. I also make my own little angle brackets as well. So I've got tons of these in different colors. And these are essentially for when the van breaks, as it will, and as it has. I've got little things like that in my bag that I can use to fix stuff on the go. because things need fixing in this van a lot. Now, I understand a lot of people might not know how to use CAD software, design software, and again, I understand that. I was the same initially. I'm pretty good at using, I use Tinkercad. It's a free thing. It's relatively basic, but it lets us modify and change and make me own things quite easily. But if you've got no intention of learning a new skill, the community have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of different models on printables, on the Bamboo Labs website. I can't remember what that's called. And pretty much anything you could possibly think of, someone's probably already designed something that'll kind of work. There's loads of different stuff for motorhomes that people have made, all sorts. So get yourself on there, have a look, and if it's interesting and you've got these little quirky problems that you cannot buy anything off the shelf for, get yourself a 3D printer. You'll be surprised how easy they are to use. So I hope this video has helped. If you've got any questions about it, let us know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. I'm not a 3D printing expert, although I have used it quite extensively now. There'll be better videos to help you understand that kind of stuff in a lot more detail. But for me, this 3D printer has helped us fix so many stupid little niggles that I wouldn't have been able to fix with off-the-shelf products. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.